Hey, thank you for watching the video. I appreciate it. I want to first start off by saying that the news I got was absolutely shocking. But let me take you to how this started. About a month ago, I went to the bathroom and I peed blood really badly. It's probably like 90% blood, 10% pee. I waited a little while, peed again, and the same thing happened. So I went to the urgent care about 7 o'clock at night, and they were like, "Oh, this is absolutely kidney stones. Yeah, your blood is, or your pee is full of your blood, but it's kidney stones. We can't give you a pill to pass it because we actually don't know how big it is. So we're going to transfer you to the emergency room, and they can CT and see how big the kidney stone is." So at about 8 o'clock, I was at the emergency room, and they did blood work, and anyone who's ever been in an emergency room knows I was there till 2:30 in the morning when I left out of there. But they took my blood probably about 8:30, 8:45, and I sat there until about 1 o'clock before I got put in a room. And then they took me to go get a CT scan, and they also told me how you have a lot of blood in your urine. So hold tight, the doctor will come in. And it was probably about 1:30 when I was done. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, the doctor on call came in the room, and she said, "Good news." She says, "You don't have any infections, you don't have any kidney stones." And I remember my exact words is, "That doesn't sound like good news," because I already knew some of the alternatives. And she said, "Yeah, you can look at it that way." And what she said next honestly had me crying, going home for about 20 minutes. She looked at me and she said, and she got real close and she started almost like petting my arm, and she looked really sad. She was like, "It's either nothing, which can happen, you can just pee urine to pee urine, or pee blood to pee blood, or it's bladder cancer." And she said, "We're gonna treat you like you have bladder cancer until we know you don't have bladder cancer." I held it there as much as I could, and then when I got in my car, I lost it. I'm 40 years old. I was like, how can I? So they referred me to a urologist. I called them the very next day. They said, "Nothing in our scans show anything about that." I don't know why they would tell you that. That's ridiculous. But to be on the safe side, we're going to get you an appointment in here so they can do a cystoscopy, basically take a scope, put it in your stuff, and check out your bladder. So that was about 2.5 weeks after the emergency room appointment. Well, 3 days ago, today is Monday. On Friday, I had that cystoscopy done. And while I'm in there, they're telling me how the procedure's going to go. And yeah, obviously I'm not very excited about that. And then the doctor comes in and she says, "There's no pee in your urine. There's going to be nothing wrong. We're going to do this because, yeah, they've scared you," is what she said. And also, it's just good to make sure. So they're doing everything, and a lot of pressure. And when she got in the bladder, because she said, "Ooh, I'm in," that's where it hurt a lot. The next thing that came out of her mouth was, "Well, that's unusual." And the next words that came out of her mouth changed my life. She said, "You have a small tumor. You have bladder cancer." She looked at me and said, I cannot believe this, but you absolutely have bladder cancer." She said, "It's very small." She said, "It looks like we caught it in the beginning stages." Now they have set me up an appointment on the 28th to get a CT scan with contrast, because the emergency room did one without contrast. And she looked at that. She said, "I can't really see anything, but to be 100% sure, I need to get a CT scan with contrast of your kidneys." Because apparently the bladder and the kidneys use the same function. So, or they use the same kind of roadway, so to speak. So they want to make sure this didn't start in the kidneys and then metastasized into my bladder. Basically, from everything I know, she set me up with the website BCNA, the Bladder Cancer Awareness Network, BCAN. So I could get fully aware of what I'm looking at. But what she said basically is it's, as long as we're not talking about the kidneys and this is just the bladder, she said I got a pretty good shot at doing this, beating this. A low-grade tumor would mean I would just have to go get checked up I have surgery on the 29th to remove the tumor out of my bladder. Obviously, the 28th, I got to make sure this ain't in my kidneys because that will change everything. But if it's just localized to the bladder, which is all I know right now, they're going to take the bladder out on the they'll take the tumor out of the bladder on the 29th. It'll take a week for the pathologist to tell her if it's a low-grade or high-grade tumor. Low-grade would mean just no treatments. I got to go twice a year, maybe 3 times to go get that same cystoscopy. I don't know what it's called. Just to make sure it hasn't come back in my bladder. And if it's a high-grade, that's where things change. That's when I'll have to get a catheter put in, and basically we'll have like chemo or radiation through the catheter multiple times a week, and that one will change. That will suck if that's what has to happen. I'm being very positive through all this. I gave myself one day to be woes me. I'm doing these videos now because I'm part of a very small percentage of 40 and under that actually get bladder cancer. Apparently it's at like the 7 to 8%. So like it's very, very low. I kind of got the short stick. The hardest thing through all this was telling my 4 daughters. I have a 24-year-old daughter, a soon-to-be 23-year-old daughter, soon-to-be 21-year-old daughter, and then my 10-year-old who's about to be 11. That was hard to tell them that, hey, Dad has bladder cancer, and this is what we're looking at. This is what, we're great chances as long as it's just in the bladder, but it's still a conversation I didn't think I'd have to have with my daughters. And the thing about that is, cancer's not been nice to our family. It killed my grandmother, who I was like my mother, and then it also got my great aunt at 54, and then my other aunt has cancer, and then my wife's uncle just passed away from cancer. So like my children, they see death a lot in cancer. Now their nanny, their grandmother, is a cancer survivor, so like that's a plus in our family. My other aunt is still alive, fighting cancer, which is a plus. Cancer isn't always a death sentence, and I also want to make that clear. But I want to make clear to everybody that if you're having symptoms like this, go to the doctor. There is no problem too small. That's why they get paid. Be an advocate, because a lot of these people would have never thought bladder cancer in a million years. But it took a little bit of pushing from me to say, yeah, I know it doesn't say nothing, but can we please just get this checked out? So be your own voice in your medical treatment, and go seek help if anything happens to you like this, because you're never too young. I'm proof of that. You're not too young to get bladder cancer, or any type of cancer really. So it would mean a lot to me if you guys can like, subscribe, but most importantly, share this. I want this to get out to as many people as I can. If this can help one person go to the doctor and get diagnosed early, like hopefully I have been, then this will be well worth it. I'm gonna do video vlogs like this through my process of getting my treatments done. So if you guys would please just watch this, share this, and give this as much love as possible. And I need some prayers, I need some thoughts. So thank you very much, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. See you in the next video.